Alright, I wasn't going to do another video on this vehicle, except for the one where I get a box of matches and set light to it. I'm having a great deal of difficulty bleeding this clutch, and fortunately the customer is keen for his vehicle to come back to him, I guess, and he's been trying to find all sorts of different things for me to try. Now, I'm a mechanic of many, many years experience, and I have never, ever had one as bad as this. This has to be the worst fucking design ever going. Nissan, you're a bunch of pricks. However, one of the things that he has found for me suggests that you also have to bleed through this up here. Why the fuck they put that in, God only knows. However, that's what's got to be done, so I've got to take all of this out again, get to the slave cylinder, and hopefully get this guy his car back. I mean, apart from anything else, he owes me money, and I'm sure he really would like his car back. And I'd like it gone, because I'd like to put my baby back on the ramp. However, enough rabbiting. This up here is going to be as tight as hell. This nut is a 12mm, and this bracket is a piece of flimsy crap that if you try just undoing this nut, you will damage this. However, this block here happens to be a perfect 21mm, and then a 12mm here. So you know they're opposite numbers, 2 and 1, 1 and 2, and then crack it. Okay, so that's just to get it cracked, ready for the work. As suggested by the person on the Maxima forum, take this out, put some dielectric grease on it, or I often use PTFE tape. That helps seal the thread even though it's undone, so that you can bleed it but you don't suck air back in. So next thing for me to do is get this piece of shit out of the way, get this bracket off. That doesn't want to disconnect for some reason, the mass airflow sensor, so I'll take those 2 screws out and tuck it safely out of the way. And then we will try bleeding from the slave cylinder upwards. In other words, you push fluid from the slave cylinder up through, hopefully out of this junction here, and into the master cylinder. One other thing I do have to do in order to obtain any kind of a pedal, I had to make a vast adjustment on the master cylinder link, but I've got to take that off now because I think the problem I've been having is related to the fact that there is air in this section. Please keep your fingers crossed for me. I will let you know. Alright, time to start removing shit. As I said, this I can't get that connector to come undone. With a lot more effort I probably could, but instead I'm just going to undo these 2 screws here. They are security Torx. In other words, they have the little pin in the middle, so you need this type of Torx piece with the hole in the middle of it, and it's a 20. So you need to get yourself one of them, or break the pin off in the middle, as somebody done on one of these. They bent it all over. Yeah, someone has definitely been in here and made a mess of things, so it just makes life a little more awkward when you come to work on it. So here we go. Alright, so that should come out of there nice and easy now. There we go. And we'll just tuck it up here out of the way. Ignore my dog. He's doing his usual and saying, guess what, I'm here. Now we've just got to get this box out of the way. Don't bother undoing these clips. They just give you access to the filter, and you don't really need access to the filter unless you're going to change your filter, of course. And in this particular case, that is not what I'm here for. I'm merely moving all of this stuff so that I can get to the bleed valve, and it's going to be easier if we take this right out of the way. This bracket is a pain in the ass. It's a strange design these people do. I guess they just sit there and say, how can I make this more awkward for these people so that they really don't want to do it? It doesn't matter about our mechanics in the dealership. We can just charge extra. Or we can, better still, say they can do it in an hour when really it's a 5-hour job and we only have to pay them for an hour. Yes, we're dealers and we like to fuck with people. Alright, let's get that box out of the way. Hang on a second, let me put this over here so that I don't lose or damage anything. Oops. Keep all that together. Now, have I undone everything here? Oh, that's attached to the box there. Dash it. Need a 10mm wrench. Oh dear. And 10. My poor old dog that you're listening to, he is 17.5 years old. He's blind, or partially blind, partially deaf. His rear legs are having a great deal of difficulty functioning, but he keeps going. He seems to be strong. We give him the occasional painkiller as he needs it, and the drugs to help his hips, and he seems to be happy, so you know, we hope he's going to be with us longer. That's the only disadvantage in my book of having a dog, which I love them dearly. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Alright, back to the car. So let me get these two bolts out. And then I should be able to pull this off. Now I have had this off once before, and there is a clip missing from here. I do have the clip, just in my eagerness to get this started I forgot to put it back on, but you know, I got to the end and looked in my tray and went, oh rhubarb, and then decided I wasn't going to put it back on just yet. Now this in theory should come out. Oh, there's a hose here. Okay, that was that thing down there you have to disconnect. Oh, and there's a bolt down there as well. Oh boy, come back you. Alright, let me put these over here. I'll lose anything. Oh, no, that screwdriver's not going to be long enough. You need to get the big ass mofo. This one. Hopefully it'll fit in the hole. Okay, here we go. Damn it, it doesn't. It's too big. I hope that other one's long enough. You know what it's like when it's not long enough. Okay. Oh yeah, I could use a... yes, I could use a 10mm and an extension, couldn't I? Okay, that appears to be undone now. Gotcha. Right. I'll tell you, with this car, it's been 1 pace forward and 6 back. There we go. Alright, now, this piece of crap out of the way. God. Somewhere down there. Yeah. It's off my head. It's down in there. I'm going to take this box out of the way as well. This one here. Yeah. It's just all in the way. I don't know, where's its little weather seal gone? Oh dear. Someone's lost the weather seal. Jesus. Alright. I'm not going to bother showing you me taking out 2 plastic clips. I'll show you where they are. That's this clip here and this clip here, and you have to undo this bolt here so that you can get that out of the way. Alright, let's get on with it. Okay, here's to show you the ridiculous setup you have to use to bleed the clutch on a Nissan Maxima. Yeah. So, this is the upper part of the pipe. Air will be trapped in there, I guarantee it. You need a syringe here connected to the slave cylinder to pump the fluid into the system. Do this one, it will pump out air and fluid. Believe me, it will. You need this syringe here to extract the fluid out of the master cylinder. Once you've got the master cylinder sealed and you've got this sealed, once you've got this, geez, come on brain. Once you've got this sealed, if there's any other air, when you pump into the slave cylinder, it should come out through the master cylinder. That's the theory. Then need to make sure that your pedal is adjusted correctly. I haven't done that yet on this. I'm just about to do it. But you can see this is the old fluid that came out. So not only was there me pumping in the new fluid and getting air out, but the old fluid was still stuck in this pipe, and obviously air was getting past it. What a really stupid design. So now let me adjust the pedal and see if it's any goddamn good. But there you go, guys, that's the view. These are the syringes you need. I got these from eBay. I think I bought a pack of 5 for I don't know, $10 or something. They weren't expensive, and it's great. I've given some away to friends. They're very useful when you're working on cars. I guess you could use them for other things if you're kinky, but not my idea of fun. Not the animal I like. So there you go. Reservoir. I mean, no, you can't really do this with one syringe. Get a pair. They're not expensive. It just makes life easier. And plastic tube. I got mine from my local Ace Hardware. I can't remember what size it was I got. I think one of them was quarter. Let me have a look and see if there's actually a label on it that tells me the size. Yeah, that's a quarter. And in fact, the quarter is the one I've used. The other one I purchased I didn't need. And that was, what size was that? That was the invisible size, because it doesn't want to tell me. It just tells me it's a foot long. Yeah, I know mine's a foot long. Oh, it's a 3/16. Okay, so I bought a 3/16 and a quarter. It turns out it was a quarter. It cost a few dollars. It's worthwhile buying, 6 feet of it. That's what I did. I bought 6 foot of both. I'll figure I'll use it somewhere. Hey, maybe even on your washer jets. Who knows? So time to adjust the brake pedal. Gee. Time to adjust the clutch pedal, and then we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know. Alright, not going to be sure if I can demonstrate this, but I wanted to try and show you. When you're attaching the syringe to the slave cylinder, you could end up with air bubbles. And if you can see the air bubbles in there, we'll get the syringe in this position. And then if the air bubbles get stuck, just give it a little shake. And you can see the air rises naturally to the top. Then you're sure, see, here comes another bubble now. It's because my finger's not sealing it properly. Then shake it, just make sure, give it a tap. Like the doctors do, pretend you're a doctor. And no, you mustn't examine the nurses, that's naughty. Especially if it's a male nurse. Okay, hey, each to your own. So that's one thing you should do. Make sure you get no air in this pipe. You can see this pipe now is just pure fluid. Then at that point, that's when you can start squeezing this into the slave cylinder. And one other thing I want to say is, when you are pulling fluid out of the bottle, do it gently, don't do it aggressive. If you do it aggressive, you're going to create air bubbles. Then you're going to aerate the fluid, which is not something you want to do, because then you're pumping air and fluid back into the system, which is something you're trying to avoid. You're trying to get it out. You can see these syringes I've used here are 100 millimeter, The guy that wrote it on the Maximum forum said use 60. Yeah, nothing wrong with that either. I like the 100 because I'm overcautious, shall we say? ODD. No, I'm not ODD. I'm all sorts of weird things, but that's one thing I'm not. I just want to make sure, doubly sure. So just thought I'd throw that in there for you guys. And then fluid, hydraulic brake fluid, is what's called hydroscopic. That means it will absorb water. So once you've opened it, like I've opened this one, unless you're going to use it pretty quickly, and by pretty quickly I mean, I don't know, maybe in a month or two, and a lot more depends on the climate you're in. I'm in Arizona, so I'm pretty good. We don't get a lot of humidity here, so it doesn't get hydroscopic that quickly. But throw it away. I know it sounds like a waste, but you don't want to put the fluid in your vehicle with water already in it. It's just not good for the system. It corrodes things and causes all sorts of problems. So for the sake of whatever this fluid costs, throw it away, recycle it. Okay, that is almost the end. There's one more thing I've got to do, which I promised at the end of the last clip that I recorded, and that was to adjust the pedal and then test drive it. Gotta say, this isn't a video I expected to record. I have been working on that Nissan Maxima, and I have bled the system more times than I care to think, using the various methods suggested by people on the forum, and also adjusting pedal length and etc, etc. I give up. I really do. And that is not something I like to say, and it's not something I say lightly. I don't know what these people were thinking when they designed this piece of shit, but maybe that's it. They designed it to beat the crap out of people like me who have a brain. So I've got it to work. It functions. It's great. There's no air in the system. I did the adjustment as best I could, but it still is not right. I am deducting the cost of what I've done from the customer's bill and suggested he take it to Mr. Nissan. I guess there's a real reason why he got this at a bargain price, and this is one of them. I've done all the other work. I've replaced everything it needed replacing. I've made it safe. You can at least stop now and turn corners. But I am thoroughly disappointed, as you can tell from my voice, that I could not fix this problem. I have never ever been beaten by a clutch problem before, but there comes a point where you say, I cannot waste or spend any more time on this. And this is that point. I am not going to go any further. Kenneth Beatty Jr., I am sorry, buddy. You're going to have to take it to the dealer.